Back to the chat. It's been a long time since I took the CPA exam. Can you just take one section at a time? I'm aware of the 18-month rule. Hey, Michael, welcome back. You actually came back to a great time to be a CPA candidate. So there's no dead month anymore. So back in the day, it was January, February, dead month, blackout month was March. April, May, blackout month, June. It's not like that anymore. It's continuous testing. And you can actually, and now scores come out a lot faster. Depending on how long it's been, like back in the day, wave 1, wave 2, and all that nonsense, none of that anymore. The exam is easier in some ways because they drop that depending on when you took it. So 2010 and beyond, now there's no more IFRS, there's no more AMT, there's no more discontinued operations except for what you need to know for the income statement. But the exam is harder in some ways just because they're testing just more complicated stuff, data analytics, blockchain stuff, etc. Oh, Michael took the exam back in 1983. Okay, paper and pencil. Okay, that's a whole different discussion. Okay, so back in your day, you had to condition, and you had to score a certain threshold on at least 2 exams in order to take the other 2. So back in your day, the exam day experience was harder. The paper versus exam or computer-based exam. The exam day experience was harder just because of what you had to do. Today, the exam content is more difficult because you have to know, so there's been a lot more pronouncements that have come out. Just different tax laws, more regulations, the advent of different technologies, auditing with computers, etc. And so the exam day experience was more difficult, but I believe the actual exam content today is more difficult. And I just say, hey, let's just all agree to disagree and just call it a wash. So the exam is no harder because you'll get you'll get the paper and pencil crowd who are like, you kids have it so easy these days. Back in my day, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're speaking out of ignorance because yes, your exam day experience was harder. Today's candidates, as someone who is neck deep in the minutia of the content, today's content is harder. There's more of it, and it's across a wider array of topics. So you have to know about more stuff. And so, but hope that's helpful. Marie writes in, as I'm flying through the MCQs, if I hit one that I don't know how to do, but also know it would be time consuming, I'm tempted to move on and keep momentum and reduce panic. Any thoughts on this for me? I'm using Lime CPA review plus Ninja. I'm assuming this is on exam day, not study mode. So I'm going to answer this through the lens of exam day. On exam day, if you get hung up on a question, like you have to spend like whatever your max amount of time is, whatever you've budgeted, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes per question. You can just do the math. It kind of varies by exam. But you have to budget your time by question. And if you get hung up on something, especially like early on, like your first 5, you're rolling through question number 4, you can't get the calculation to work out. And it's annoying you, and you just feel like a total failure if you don't get question number 4 correct. It's just going to kill you the entire exam because great, I'm already going to fail. If you spend 10 minutes on question number 4, it is going to wreck you because it's going to bite you in the butt on your final simulations. Like boom, timer's off or time's up. You didn't even get a chance to hit submit. That's what will happen if you get hung up on a question. So if your time is up on that question, pick B or C and move on. Why B or C? I did a random example of questions one time. I think I did 100, and like B or C was the correct answer like 60% of the time. Totally scientific. And so that's why I say B or C. I mean, whatever yours is, A or D, but I say B or C. Pick B or C, whichever one just looks less ugly, and move on.